I'm here with Travis Porter today. Thanks for joining us, Travis. You are a musician and an artist, and I wonder if you would take a few moments and share how music and art impact your life.
Music and art, how they impact my life. Um, Music really, I think it's universal, kind of for all people, being kind of an outlet for, emotional expression. That's a given. Um, Music really being like in a hardcore band, it's incredibly it's passionately driven. It's loud, it's aggressive. There's a lot of high energy. But a part of that, um, there's like I said, it's so passionate by like the engagement between you and the crowd. It's brutal. People get punched and stuff like that, but it's a weird outlet for the kids that aren't accepted. Um, I'm not gonna say that I had a hard bringing up, or I struggled um, a lot when I was a kid, but with the problems that I did have, um, kind of aggressive music or just kind of the music scene that was concentrated around, um, kind of gave me not a purpose, but it gave me some kind of relationship with other people who also struggled internally with things that they didn't want to talk about to like their family or to people in general. So they come to these shows and kind of just be able to express themselves in a way that it's a little different, um, but that's kind of just what I'm used to. So that's really how music affects my life. Art is even a more. I think art and music. They coincide. I could do a painting to music, and all the emotion that I got out of the music, it's going to be expressed in my painting. Maybe it's not the same feel, but it's going to definitely give me some kind of driving force to go into work. Most of my work is about my life, anyways, and it's going to be about me growing up and what I dealt with. But I was starting in this phase of like not hopelessness or incredibly dreary, like sad paintings, and that's for some reason all my work comes out looking like that because I was talking with you earlier how artwork comes out of an honest place. It comes out of what you know. I can't paint how a rainbow feels or how it's expressed to me if I've never seen one or if I've never experienced one. And sadness and being alone is a lot of things that I've experienced that like my parents didn't know about, that people in my community around me at school, stuff like that, like didn't know about. So, having to deal with that isolation is kind of like what most of my and what my work is about. But other than that, I've been kind of moving in this like thread of hopefulness. I had a conversation with a guy at a show, at a hardcore show I was just at recently. His name's Jeff Stuckel, and he was telling me about trying to find the thread of hopefulness in like a kind of a dark and dreary place because that's all he's used to. Being sad is easy. Like it's really easy for me to be sad or to feel isolated, to feel alone, and to be able to kind of express those feelings and whether it be music or art. But finding a thread of hopefulness is definitely it's difficult, because I've always expected the worst. I've always expected bad outcomes. I've always expected things to be to not be good. So that when something does go bad, that I expected it. I'm not upset. I'm not let down. And that's something that's kind of like mechanically shoved into my brain as a child. So music and art are definitely they coincide in not only my life but in every outlet, in every action I do, and that it's really shaped me as a person.
And how about faith? How does that form and shape you as a person?
I'd say it's weird because hardcore music is incredibly passionate, and like I said, it is about the messed up kids coming together and kind of finding some kind of purpose. Um, and I went to a hardcore show not too long ago, and this vocalist of this band called New Heart was telling me in the crowd that there's people that they come to this place, but there can't just be the mess ups. There can't just be the problem. There's got to be something more. There's got to be something there that's got to fix them. Excuse me. And that's where Christian hardcore bands or Christian metal bands come in, and that's something that it's hard for me to kind of mingle with that idea. Being a Christian, being in a hardcore band that's not a Christian band. It's definitely an optimistic, more approach that I take in my lyricism. I even talk about God in my lyrics. But I know there's got to be a lifeline. There's got to be something more significant than just the problems of the world. A problem, a messed up person can't fix another messed up person. So I mean, it's like the blind leading the blind. And I think even with art, every painting I do is like a prayer in a way. It's like the hopefulness or the desire to want to find something more within myself and to learn more about who I am as a person and why I am that way. And I mean, they're all God-given talents. I mean, that's kind of a given. But faith is the willingness to want to strive to be a lot more than just being at the surface, to strive for excellence. And I think that's huge, and being faithful to the work and being a servant to whatever encounters you're in life. And I guess that answers your question very well.
And just take a moment and briefly explain your personal faith and where that comes from.
Personal faith, I mean, I pretty much started being a Christian. Like I kind of felt God's presence when I was about 6 or 7 years old. I was at this church with my mom and my aunts up in Willard, Ohio, and I just felt some kind of like movement like within me. It was kind of weird. It was almost like my soul, something in me was being drawn out. My emotions were being drawn out. This like moving spiritual worship service. And really, like, it's where my faith and my belief in God had kind of started, was at that young age. And a lot of my life wasn't crashing down at 7, and it doesn't make any sense to some people. But that's where a lot of my problems were introduced. Like, everything I dealt with in my life that was as heavy as it has ever been was at 7 years old, and until I was like a late teenager. And the fact that as a kid, I was dealing with issues that just shouldn't have existed, just issues that nobody would have guessed, nobody would have thought. And out of that, I always thought, like I was telling you earlier, was, the idea that problems are they're natural. They're natural to me. And having faith is so difficult when it feels like every problem that you have in your life is going to fall on you. The weight of the world is on your shoulders. It's going to come crashing down on you. But faith takes courage. Like it's to believe that something's going to be there when a light at the end of the tunnel isn't even there. When you think there's going to be one there and it's not. And I think out of my personal experiences as just like a child, that's where my faith has come from. And my mom is an amazing woman. My dad is an amazing man. And they taught me a lot about who I am and who I should strive to be and the integrity that I should have as a Christian. But I mean, having come to college 4 years ago as a freshman, I kind of took up my cross, and I owned who I was as a person, and I dealt with a lot of my not identity problems or my crisis, whatever you consider, but I really owned who I was as a person and utilized my issues to better me, and to try and be the best man of God or Christian I could be. So.
All right, Travis, thanks for sharing with us, buddy.